Welcome back to Know How Right Now. Today I'm going to go over addition and subtraction of fractions. Now, I'm going to try to do something a little different. I've never tutored or taught it like this, but I'm going to try it out, see what you think. Feel free to leave a comment, or if you have any questions, leave that as well. But let's look at some really quick basics. Let's say you have a fraction. What is a fraction? A fraction is a number divided by another number. That's all it is. So 1 divided by 2. Now let's say we're going to add to another fraction, 1 over 2. Now, if you have the same, let me write this down really quick, by the way. Let's look at this. This is the numerator, and this is the denominator. Now, if you have the same denominator, then you can add the top directly. Or we can rewrite it to better understand it as 1 plus 1 divided by 2, because it's the same denominator. And then we could just take the top, 1 plus 1, and add it. 1 plus 1 is 2. And 2 divided by 2 is simply 1. Okay? So if you're given this sort of a easy fraction, then it's really simple. You've already got the same denominator, and then you can just add the top across, and you've got, and then you simplify, and you have 1. Okay. Now let's suppose we have something a little more, it's a little bit more complicated. We have 2/3. Okay, now we can't just add straight across, right? We can't do this. You might be tempted to do this, but just don't do it, okay? Here, we can't write 1 plus 2 divided by 2 plus 3 is equal to 1 plus 2 is 3, and 2 plus 3 is 5. That's not how it works, okay? So if you're tempted, just get out of the habit as soon as you possibly can. But instead what we're doing is we're finding the least common denominator, or also known as the LCD, least common denominator. So how do we find the least common denominator? Well, it's the least number, the smallest number that the two meet at, or where they rendezvous, if you will. For example, let's say you have a number line. You have this number line, and on this number line, this is your number line of 2. And then you have your number line of 3, okay? Here's your 2 denominator, and here's your 3 right here. You don't have to do this every time, but I just want to give you like a sort of intuitive thing. If you don't get it, rewatch the video, see what you think. But I was just thinking about this here. So now you have, if this is your denominator 2, then on your number line you have 1, 2. Okay, that's one group of 2. Here's your first group of 2. And here on your other number line you have one group of 3. Okay, it's your first group of 3 right there. Okay, this is what you automatically start off with. Okay, now how do I get these two to meet at a certain number? Well, let's find out. If I add another group of 2, 1, 2, here's your second group of 2, but that only leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's one extra than I have right here, right? So let's see if we can make it a little more similar. Well, let's add another group of 3, 1, 2, 3. Here's your second group of 3. And notice, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Well, here we have 4, so this one's got 2 extra. Well, let's add another 2 here, another group. Here's your third group of 2, and guess what? They both meet at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But sure enough, this number right here is 6, and so is this number. So your least common denominator is going to be 6. So, if that's the case, how do we get this number? How do we get this number to equal 6? And how do we get this number to equal 6? That's what we're trying to do, right? Well, we have to multiply this number times a number to get to 6. And whatever we do to the denominator, we also have to do the numerator on each one of these. So what did we do here? We actually added 1, 2, 3 groups of 2. So that means that we have to multiply this side right here by 1, 2, 3 groups of 2. So I multiply the bottom by 3 and the top by 3 as well. What about this one here? Well, what do we do? In order to get the least common denominator, or the point at which they both cross each other, the least number at which they both cross each other, well, what I did is I added 1, 2 groups of 3. So that means that I need to multiply this by 1, 2. I need to multiply it by 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top. And so now, hopefully I can erase this. And you could use the same method as many times as it takes for it to become clear and intuitive to you. Once again, this is the first time I've tried to teach it this way, but I hope it helps. Okay, so on the top here we have 3 times 1, which is 3, and here I'm gonna multiply these two here. We have 3 times 2, which is 6, which is what we wanted for this denominator, plus 2 times 2, which is 4, over 3 times 2, which is 6. Now, we can also rewrite this, since they have the same denominator, they have the common denominator. Now I can write this as 3 plus 4 divided by 6. And what does that equal? Well, now what we gotta do is we need to add these two, right? So 3 plus 4 is 7 divided by 6. So that's our final answer. If this was subtraction, we do the exact same thing that we already did. We just change the plus sign here. Notice the steps are all the same for addition and subtraction. The only difference is that instead of adding these two numbers right here, we're going to subtract them. So 3 minus 4 is going to be negative 1 divided by 6. So I hope this method works out for you. You can try it on bigger numbers as well. There's other methods as well that I'll most likely make some videos about. But this one I think might be pretty good. So if you have any questions or comments, just please let me know. Thank you very much.